Imagine being engaged and noticing that your partner, once dedicated to fitness and healthy eating, has started to neglect their well-being. This is the situation of a fiancé, and with a wedding just 3 months away, it's becoming a pressing concern. Let's dive in. Original post: My fiancé, F26, is overweight. How do I, M26, tell her that I need her to do something about it? My fiancé is becoming increasingly overweight, and frankly, she knows it. She doesn't do anything about it, however. She used to be very adamant about eating correctly and working out, but she has stopped lately. It feels like any excuse she can use to not take care of herself she will use. I am worried about her health, want to find her more attractive, and frankly, it's a turn-off when she doesn't take care of herself. We are getting married in 3 months, and I surely expected her to try to lose weight for our big day, but that hasn't happened either. In the past, when we have had similar conversations, she just gets upset and shuts down. How can I talk to her about how important this is to me without being rude? I just want to help her. She used to care a lot about her looks. Match and weight teaches health. I'm worried if she doesn't do something about it, it will get increasingly worse, as it already has, and she will have health problems and complications. We plan on having kids in the next 3 years or so as well. Edit. I am not a hypocrite. I am 220 tatubs. 6-7. I focus on my health and care about my well-being. We shared those same values when we started dating. It's about expressing genuine concern while also respecting our loved one's feelings and autonomy. Have you ever faced a similar dilemma in a relationship? How did you handle it? Let's hear some thoughts and advice in the comments section.
Honestly, I would probably want to figure out why she has stopped going to the gym and has been eating worse. You don't have to directly address the weight, as you can address the habit change and see where it is coming from and what you can do to help. I mean, it could be stress related to the wedding or other things, or it could simply be that you have no motivation now that you are going to be tied down. Probably a good idea to figure out the cause and if there is a possibility of correcting it.
The wedding date is irrelevant. If you don't want to marry her now, you won't want to marry her in 3 months. But you need to speak with her with as much clarity and honesty as you can. It would be terrible if she were blindsided by this, if you decide to cancel the wedding.
It's relatively in that lots of women make an active effort to look good for their wedding, usually including fat loss.
Yes, which is frankly concerning and really sad. Making an effort to look good is one thing. Feeling like you have to be smaller to be a good bride is another thing entirely. When I was getting married, I started having all sorts of these things marketed to me. At a wedding show, they tried to convince me to join a gym, join a super restrictive diet group, bleach my teeth, etc. My husband was there too, but nobody mentioned any of this to him. For what it's worth, I'm not huge, and my teeth are straight and a natural shade of white. I started working with a personal trainer a few months before my wedding. She was incredibly relieved when I let her know that it wasn't because of the wedding, and I wasn't trying to drop a bunch of weight really quickly.
All the comments below make me wonder if the guys in the comment section have even talked to another human being or ever interacted with another person before. Call her a fucking pig. Break up right before your marriage. Like Jesus. Don't listen to these socially inept morons, please. IMO, the likely reason is that she's putting on weight as a result of your upcoming wedding. The main sign of this is that you said she's getting upset when it's brought up and has some self-awareness that it's happening, which implies to me it's more of a conscious choice caused by something rather than just like forgetting to go to the gym out of pure subconscious laziness. Also note, it's not something she likes, as it's upsetting her when it's brought up. Note that she doesn't like being fat, which must mean there's a reason for it to happen. Perhaps the reality of married life in 3 months and kids in 3 years is suddenly becoming a reality, and now the anxiety, doubts, depression, fears, etc. is all hitting at once. So while she may be presenting fine, she may be breaking down a bit inside, hence overeating as a coping mechanism. So maybe just sit her down and genuinely ask her how she's feeling. And if you do enough prying, I'm sure you'll find a reason for the overeating. That way you can tackle the root cause together and lovingly, rather than just sitting there being like, "You're a fucking pig," Fix yourself now, like the other guy suggested.
How are you going to handle it if she puts on weight during pregnancy and then doesn't lose it after? Or if she ends up with a condition that either directly or indirectly causes her to gain weight and makes it harder to lose? Will you still love her and want to be married to her if she weighs more and isn't in a position to lose the weight?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Because I have to say my wife and I have a kid, and we love him to bits, don't get me wrong, but he's special needs, and he takes a lot of time and effort to look after. Both of us are twice the people we were 15 years ago, if you get my drift. And we're starting to get back into things now that he's getting older and needs slightly less focus. But I have to say, if we both instantly got put off by each other's beer bellies, our marriage would have been doomed. And the fact is, sure, in your 20s it's different. But everyone gets older. No matter how hard you try, one day you're going to be 60 and your partner is not going to look like a supermodel anymore. I don't disagree with OP having concerns, but he also needs to realize his relationship needs to be built on more than just physical attraction, or it is absolutely in strife. I also note we don't know how much weight we're talking about here either. I mean, there's a big difference between gaining, say, 5 kilo and 15 kilo.
Let's reverse it. A woman is about to marry a man who has decided to stop working out and he's eating tons of junk food, etc. When she tells him that she is concerned about his health, he ignores her, gaslights her, or just tells her to piss off. Gimme my KFC bucket back, woman. Everybody on Reddit would tell her to bail. So why is it that people are telling OP he needs to be sensitive and understanding?
Approaching sensitive topics like weight with a partner requires empathy and open communication. It's important to express your concerns with love and concern for her well-being, focusing on health rather than appearance. Let's keep going.
I've been in a relationship with a man who started putting on weight after we got together. I never thought about ending things over weight gain. Your argument here means nothing to me. I believe people deserve compassion regardless of their sex, gender. OP's fiancé is not gaslighting him or telling him to piss off. She's telling him that commenting on her weight makes her feel bad about himself. If you want to marry someone, especially if you plan on having kids with them, then you need to be prepared for the possibility that at some point they will put on weight that they won't then lose, or that in the future something will happen that might limit their mobility or their ability to lose weight. He needs to ask himself how he's going to handle it if she puts on baby weight during pregnancy and then doesn't lose that weight after, or, God forbid, she develops a condition that might make managing her weight more difficult, like some women develop gestational diabetes or hypothyroidism during pregnancy. If you are in a relationship with someone for the long haul, many people end up with some disabling or difficult to manage health conditions in older age. If he thinks the weight is always going to be a deal breaker for him, then he should rethink whether he actually wants to marry her, and he should seriously reconsider having kids with a woman.
I want to disagree here a bit. You absolutely owe it to her to sit her down, but you owe it to yourself to be completely 100% honest with her before you get married. You are posting here because you don't like it, and it is likely going to grow into a deal breaker for you. People are clumsily telling you to break it off before it becomes worse. You're married, you have children, etc. You don't want to be in a position of resentment down the line. Explain in no uncertain terms that her weight gain is a deal breaker. Tell her you love her, but you are young and want to be attracted to her in all ways, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. Because, and this may be hard, being less than 100% honest and open will leave room for doubt, and people likely won't change if there is room for doubt. Let the decision be hers on if she wants to change or not, but don't let this go without telling her honestly, because you want to spare her feeling. The above advice is asking someone how they feel, which in my opinion sounds good, but is crappy. It puts the burden on her to come clean and may go nowhere. She may not even be able to say why. It's not always something mental, but you can express your feelings openly and honestly. Why am I saying this? Because I believe I have been the person needing to lose weight, and my SO never said anything until she was past the breaking point, and then it was too late. She tried everything she could to hide those feelings because she had gained weight herself. She wanted to be sympathetic and kind, but she lost weight and I did not. It didn't stop her feelings regardless of how she felt guilty. Do you know how much rather I would have had her just tell me than keep holding it in? A lot. And nothing short of "you will lose me if you don't do something" would have changed my habit.
The vast majority of people on this sub aren't old enough to rent a car. Hell, the OP barely can. I don't know why anyone comes here to ask a serious question when it's a bunch of dude bros in their teens and 20s, or middle-aged men with nothing better to do than complain about how miserable life, how awful women. If you're reasonably well-adjusted and living a decent life, you don't have the time or inclination to sit on this sub like so many of them do. Of course, their advice is horrible. That's why they have so much time to give it. They don't have partners or kids to care for. Or if they do, then they're being shitty dads and letting their spouses do everything, which inevitably leads to the shitty behavior they receive back. TLDR, most of the people on this sub wouldn't know what a good relationship looks like if it hit them in their diapers.
I'm a woman. I gained like 10 lbs before my wedding because I was stressed about eating. I lost weight since I went back to my normal habits. This could very well be the reason.
My husband's weight has fluctuated a lot over our marriage. Usually it was because we were in periods of stress or had just had a baby, so working out and eating well took a back seat for a while. It wasn't a big deal. Obviously, I want both of us not to be stressed out and have time for exercise and eating well, but when you sign up for a life with someone, sometimes that life is stressful. I would have been a complete jerk for making the focus of his weight, instead of focusing on how we could get to the other side of whatever was causing stress. As I've hit middle age, my weight has also gone up. My husband encourages me to be healthy, but he also makes it clear he loves my body at any size, just like I've always loved his body at any size. Unless there are signs of some other significant mental health issues, getting upset because your partner has put on weight or isn't maintaining a perfect fitness-oriented lifestyle isn't reasonable. It's certainly not going to be sustainable over the course of an entire marriage, unless you want that marriage to be brief.
Broaching the topic gently and from a place of care can foster a supportive atmosphere where both of you can openly discuss health goals. Finding activities you both enjoy can make this journey a shared and positive experience. Let's keep reading.
Maybe she is depressed. I think you need to have a serious discussion with her.
Crucial Conversation: Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High is the book you're looking for. It has great skills at understanding how to converse with people who are feeling unsafe. As for how well this conversation goes, you're going to find out that you're probably flubbed this conversation quite a bit. Don't be too hard on yourself, though, because humans are programmed for survival, and stress doesn't distinguish between being hunted and being talked to.
Maybe phrase it gently, like you're concerned about both of your health long-term. If you're both planning on kids, you want to be able to play with them to the fullest and live long lives to see grandchildren, etc. Don't make it about looks, as I'm sure you wouldn't take it well if it was reversed.
I'm afraid there's nothing you can do. She has to do this for herself. If this is important to you, you might have to seriously consider splitting up, because once she has that ring on her finger, she will really let go.
Is she depressed? I'm going through the same thing, but I've brought it up, and their reply was, I'm just going to be chunky. And while I'm still in love and am attracted to it, the mindset is what's kind of getting in my head. It's a subject I don't think anyone can give advice on. But if you don't have the relationship that y'all can have these conversations, I'd definitely reconsider the marriage in 3 months.
Start by seeing what's wrong. That abrupt lack of interest is a common symptom of depression. Hopefully, it's just situational and a work thing. Otherwise, start asking her to go with you. If she refuses, be direct and honest while being as kind as possible.
My guy, marriage is for life, like the whole thing. You're picking a partner for all of that. You'll be in your 30s in no time. Bodies change, hormones, stress. Y'all want to have kids. If you're in this for the long haul, you got to learn to accept that. The gym is one of those things that gets out on pause for a lot of people when shit gets busy or stressful. Same with diet. How is she like emotionally? You don't really touch on that in your post. How long y'all been together?
Female here. How much weight exactly has she gained? Clearly, something else is going on that is potentially eating away at her, and her solution to curb her anxiety is to eat her feelings away. This is really weird, though, and I wonder because it could be a number of things. Something affected her mental health, and for whatever reason, she has been unable to talk to you about it. It also depends on how you bring up your concerns with her. How exactly do you phrase it? Because if she is vulnerable, which it sounds like she is, then bringing up her weight and that you are not attracted to her is not the way to go. Everyone wants to be loved in sickness and in health. I wonder if she has persisted with spiraling even more into eating because of how you may have been addressing, and she feels as though you only loved her for her looks. At a certain point, you do need to bring up attraction if your significant other doesn't do anything about it, but I really hope it wasn't the first thing you said, because you potentially could have been the catalyst to make her little problem go nuclear. First and foremost, it should always be a, I'm concerned for you thing. And if you waited until she was so fat you were attracted, then still the first thing should have been, I'm concerned for you, because you simply waited too long to address something that was affecting her. And from an outside perspective, it seems to have only mattered to you only when it started affecting you. Instead of bringing up all these talks on her weight, have you tried to do more things as a couple that are physical? Just go out on dates and walk around. Sex? You keep a surprising amount of weight off by just walking, and if she didn't feel like this was a thing about her weight and felt it was a couple bonding thing, then she might do it or be more willing to. She could have just wanted to trap you into marriage and then let her true colors shine. Maybe she did you a favor and thought that she could change her personality before you even made it official. Some people do this to others, and it sucks, but it does happen. I'm talking about a complete 180 with personality and appearances. I would caution you to reconsider the engagement or at least postpone the wedding until you figure out what is going on. She could be feeling guilty about something such as having an affair. Just really an odd thing to happen out of nowhere unless you just didn't happen to notice what event changed her. Again, I would recommend postponing the wedding until you can figure out exactly what is going on. Have you tried asking her family and friends? Since you didn't specify how much weight she gained and what amount of time, it is hard to gauge how serious this is. Though I suppose anything over 20 lbs is definitely a mental health issue. People just don't get up and gain weight like that for no reason. Have you urged her to try therapy? Do you still show her the same affection that you used to? Cuddles, kisses, etc. If this is non-existent, then you are potentially making the problem spiral. Whatever that problem is. Maybe she's looking for an excuse to not be the bad guy in a breakup and thinks if she gains weight and you dump her, she'll be the one that people side with because they'll be angry at you for being shallow and not loving her, or whatever other words they will spew. Some people play the long game just so that they could be morally victorious, when the reality is that they are the horrid person. Hopefully some or any of these give some ideas as to what might be going on.
No kids. Run up to the marriage and she still won't even acknowledge the problem. Trust me, it's all downhill from here.
Hard truth here. Marriage amplifies everything, good and bad. You have red flags here that should be making this marriage a no-go if you can't get through. 2 red flags. It's not rude for you to say that her weight is a concern. Her health is the least of your worries here, even though it is a worry, as whatever values she has will be transferred to your children and to you. If she doesn't have good values, care about her health, then she also doesn't care about yours or your children's health or values. Parents should be an example to their kids. If their mom is fat and unhealthy, how will she cook for them? How will she set good habits about health? Will she make sure they get out and walk? How will she be able to do things you and the kids enjoy if she is unhealthy? In the end, trust me when I say that you will fall for this too if you stay with her. This is even more important. If you can't get her to communicate now, how will it be in marriage as things are amplified? I know it's hard, but you can't let love blind you to logic. Step back and separate yourself from your emotions for a moment and think what you would want for your best friend, brother, if he was in this situation and told you the full story and you could tell him the complete truth without risk of any feelings being hurt. Do you want to live with someone who doesn't care about their health? Do you want to live with someone who will shut down in tough conversation? It shows a severe lack of trust in your relationship and self-respect on her part. Honestly, the more important problem here is her lack of ability to communicate with you. If you can't figure this out, you are going to seriously regret this marriage, and having kids with her, I think you should immediately start seeing a marriage counselor, preferably one with conservative or Christian values. Not even because of religion, as I don't even believe in religion, but because you will get a far more fair consideration for both sides this way, and it won't just be how to validate her as most people in the social sciences would push.
If I had $1 for every time I've heard of someone's partner letting themselves go after they are in a relationship marriage, I would retire. Ask her what's going on. If there is no health, injury, medication, contraceptive pill, whatever cause behind it, it might be a huge warning sign for you that many guys were not lucky enough to get. Personally, I'd be upfront and tell her you are not happy with her becoming fat and lazy, and maybe offer to go out jogging or whatever and give some real consideration to what she is eating, drinking during the day
and why?
While addressing sensitive topics like weight gain can be challenging, it's essential to approach them with empathy and understanding. Remember, our words have power, and how we express our concerns can make a significant impact on our loved ones. Subscribe for more.